Good morning, Year 6, and welcome to today's maths lesson. Today we're going to be looking at adding fractions, and we're going to be building on the work done this week. We're going to be looking at some more reasoning problems and some word problems to do with the fractions that we've used this week. Before we do that, I'm just going to have a little look at some of the results from TT Rockstars in the last 7 days. Right, let's find out. So, these scores are correct as of 3 o'clock on Tuesday the 12th of January, and they show the percentage of each class and how many of you have actually been on TT Rockstars. So the percentage of the class that's been on TT Rockstars in the last 7 days. So we have a class that's done 59%, there's 62% of this class and this class. But out in front, there's one class of 72%. Would you like to find out who it is? Yeah, come on then. Right, let's have a little look. So we have, for 59%, 6M. With 62%, there's two classes, 6G and 6R. So that means the winning class, woo, 6P. So 6P, I'm going to give you all 2 dojo points. This is a brilliant amount of effort over the last 7 days. Lots of you must have been on there and working really, really hard. So keep it up. Let's see if we can do a lot more. And to the other class in Year 6, let's see if we can catch up with 6P. Okay, we're going to move on to some arithmetic practice now. So there are 4 questions here. I'd like you to pause the video in a second and have a little go at them. You may want to use mental methods or written methods. It's completely up to you. Off you go. Okay, well done. Right, so here are some of your answers. So number 1, 345 times 4, showing 1,380. Number 2, 36 add 45 add 24 was 105. 2,718 divided by 6 was 453. And 6,783 take away 2,094 was 3,879. So you could give those a little tick or you can correct them. Okay, so we've got another little start task. I'd like you to have a go at these 3 questions. Number 1 says, complete the calculation that is represented. So there are some images there. Can you write them as a fraction? Number 2, there is 2 fractions there that need adding up. So you may want to convert them. And number 3, it says, write your answer in its simplest form. So can you simplify the answer right down to the most simplified fraction that you can? Okay, have a little go at those now. Okay, let's have a look at some of the answers. So number 1, we had 2 1/4, and that was added to 1 3/4. So in total, that would have been 4. Our second question was 5/9 add 2/3. So you need to convert the 2/3 into ninths by finding a common multiple. So to get it up to 9, you would have times it by 3. So the 2 would have been times by 3, which would have given you 6. So now you've got 5/9 add 6/9, which in total is 11/9, which can be changed to 1 whole and 2 ninths. Number 3, write your answer in its simplest form. So 1 1/2 add 6 1/4. 1 add 6, we add the whole numbers first, was 7. Then we add the half and the sixth. We need to convert the half into 3/6, which is an equivalent fraction. And add that on and you would have had 4/6. So in total you would have had 7 and 4/6. And even simpler, 7 2/3. Okay, so today, like I mentioned earlier, we are adding fractions. We're going to be using some of the skills we've used already this week to solve some more reasoning style questions and a couple of word problems. The big picture is similar to what it's been all week. Fractions are everywhere. They're quite often found in cooking and food. There's a lovely little banana bread recipe there if anyone wants to have a go at it. And our key vocabulary for the lesson is similar to before, but we have add, subtract, fraction, divide. Numerator, can you remember which one that was? That's the number on the top of the fraction. That's the amount of pieces you've got. And the denominator is the total amount it's been divided up into. Digits, so a digit, sometimes you call your fingers digits, but digit is the representation of the number. So if I was looking at a number there, that digit there is just a 4, okay? With the 1, it makes a number 14. So they are digits that make up numbers. And the number total is all together, added up. It's the sum of something, and it generally means you're going to be using add. So this is my turn. We're going to complete these calculations. Before I do, it'd be great if you could pause and have a little think yourself about how you would do some of these. Are there any that are easier than others? What methods would you use? Have a little think. Okay, well done. Let's have a little look then. So we're going to look at this first one. 2/3 add 3/4. So I've got 2/3 and 3/4 there as a bar model. And I'm going to divide each of these parts into 4 so I can find my 2 equivalent fractions. I'm going to divide each of these into 3. And now they are the same size. They're actually being put into 12ths because the common multiple between 3 and 4 are 12ths. So my 2/3 is now changed into 8/12, and my 3/4 is changed into 9/12, as you can see in the bar model. I could have done that a different way. We'll look at that later on, but there are lots of different ways to do this. My total answer is 17/12, which is an improper fraction, which would also be 1 and 5/12, as you can see here. When you move that across, you have 1 whole, and you're still left with the 5/12 below. And there's our answer. That's one way of doing that one. So the next one, so 2 whole and 4/5 added to 1 whole and 1/15. So I'm going to add the 2 whole numbers first. So 2 add 1 is 3, and then I add the fractions after. So the 4/5 and 1/15. So I'm going to multiply the 5ths by 3 because that would give me 15ths. So my 2 denominators would now be the same. So I have to multiply both parts of the fraction, so the 4 and the 5, those 2 digits, by 3. That gives me 12/15. I can then add that to the 1/15, and it gives me 13/15, or 13/15. I then add that onto my original number from before, my 3, and I get 3 whole and 13/15. Final one, we have 1 whole and 8/9, and added on 2 whole and 1/6. Again, I'm going to add the whole numbers first because it's quite easy to do that, and you can put that to one side and then you can focus on the fractions. And this is my fraction part, so I have 8/9 and 1/6. So I'm going to need to look for a common multiple between 9 and 6 so that I can actually get a denominator that is the same. So I've got multiples of 9 and I've written them out here. And I've got multiples of 6. Now I'm looking for two numbers that are the same, but the lowest ones, so the first ones that come up. So I wonder if you can spot any of them. Well done. So we have 18 here and 18 here. There are other common multiples, but these are the lowest. This is the lowest one. So I'm going to use that one. So to multiply my 9ths, to make them into 18ths, I would have to multiply by 2, because 2 9s make 18. So I multiply the top number and the bottom number, and I get 16/18. I need to do the same for my second fraction. I need to turn that into 18 as well. So I wonder if you already thought ahead, what would I times 6 by to get 18? Well done, I would times it by 3. So I would have to multiply the 1 by 3 and the 6 by 3, and I would get 3/18. Now, those are 2 parts of my fraction number sentence that I need to add up. So if I added those two up, I would have had 19 over 18, add on my 3 from before. So I've added these two together and I've added that to this and I've ended up with 3 whole, which is there. And this had 19 eighteenths. Okay. Do you think I'm finished? Not quite. So I have 3 whole here, and I also have my 19 eighteenths down here. Now you can see that I've actually got another whole here, haven't I? So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 whole, and what have I got left over? Well done, yeah, I've got 4 whole and I got 1 18th left over. So I'll just go back to that, look. I had 3 whole and 19 eighteenths. So you can see that's 1 more than 18, like 1 more extra. And that's down here. So I can turn that into a whole and 1 18th. So I add it on and I end up with 4 and 1 18th. Okay? Right, we're going to move on to our turn now. Now, this is a tricky question. It takes a bit of thinking, but I'd like you to have a little go at it. If you are working with someone, they can help you a little bit and talk it through. You might want to draw it out. Use some of the skills you've used this week. So I'm just going to read it out and then you can have a go. So it says, 3 buckets are partly filled with water. Each bucket can hold 10 litres in total. Is it possible for all the water to fit into 1 bucket? So just asking for a yes or no answer really, but below that it says, show all your working. So you'd obviously get a mark for the answer, but also a mark for the workings out to help you get to that answer. Now straight away there might be some things you could do to start this question, looking at how you're going to add them up to find a total. But then you want to think carefully after that. Okay, so go and have a little go, and then we'll come back and have a look at the answer. Right then, let's have a little look. So, I've written it out. So you have 3 1/2, add 2 3/4, add 3 4/5. Okay, and we're going to see if that adds up to more than 10, basically. Because if it's more than 10, then it won't fit in 1 bucket. If it's less than 10, it will. So I'm going to straight away add up the whole numbers. So I've got 3 and a 2 and a 3. So far I've got 8. So I'm actually quite close to my total already. Now I need to add up the fractions as well. So I've got 1/2 and the 3/4 and 4/5. Some of you might be thinking in your head, that's almost 2 already. So I need to, I need to think of a common multiple between 2, 4 and 5. So is there a number that pops up in the 2 times table, the 4 times table and the 5 times table? All of them. I wonder if you can think of one. Now 2s are quite easy to think of in your head. So I'm going to look at the multiples of 4 and 5. And I should be able to spot another multiple of 2 in there, shouldn't I? Plus any multiple of 2 will be a multiple of 4. So multiples of 4, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. As I said, all of those are in the 2 times table as well. Multiples of 5, I've got 5, 10, 15, 20 and 25. Now I can look, are there any 2 numbers that are the same? Well done, you've spotted them. So yeah, we've got 20 in the 4s and 20 in the 5s. And obviously 20 is also in the 2s. So that means I need to convert each of those fractions into being over 20. So each of these need to be multiplied to make them over 20. So to do that, I would have multiplied the first one by 10. So 2 times 10 makes 20. The second one would have been multiplied by 5 because 4 times 5 makes 20. And the third one would have been multiplied by 4 because 4 times 5 makes 20. And obviously the top numbers change too. Okay. You might want to pause right now and have a little look at that to think about how I did that. Right, I'm going to add all those together. So that gives me 41/20. So that's an improper fraction. So I'm going to convert it into a mixed number. It'll be easier to see then if I've got 10 or more. So if I convert that into a mixed number, I can fit 2 lots of 20 into 41. So that means I've got 2 wholes in there. And I've got 1/20 left over. So if I add that to my first total over here of my whole numbers, so I add that and that, I would end up with 10 and 1/20th. So I've actually got more than 10. So is it possible for all the water to fit perfectly into one bucket? No, it's not. Well done. Like I said, if you want to pause and have a little look at that or talk about it, that might well help. But again, it's just working your way through carefully and using a method that's been shown to you already, or using a method that you prefer. One of the best methods to use is adding up the whole numbers and then adding up the fractions. It makes it into two easier parts. Okay, so your chili challenges are going to be the next few slides. Again, you may choose to start on chili 1 and work your way through, or choose a chili to complete. It's completely up to you. If you're finding a chili too hard, go back to a previous chili or go back through the lesson to recap and check. And again, a couple of you emailed in asking for a tiny bit of help. That's absolutely fine. We are all here to help you. Also at the end, there will be a chance to self-assess, but please work through first and then use that to check how you did, or to just like think how you were a little bit wrong, or if you use the same method or a different method. So let's have a look at the chilies. So we have chili 1, chili 2, chili 3, and again, as always, email into the Year 6 email address. There will be dojos, like I said, handed out tomorrow for people who've been working really hard this week. We've been keeping an eye on how you've all been doing. And like I said, if you want to have a look at some of the answers to check your work, they are on the next few slides. So there's chili 1 answers. Chili 2 answers. Chili 3 answers. Okay, Year 6, that's the end of today's lesson. Well done for all your hard work. Like I said, we can't wait to see your work. Please email it in. You could type it up. You could send us a picture. It's completely up to you. Also, I'm really looking forward to seeing how many of you get yourselves onto TT Rockstars and how many of you can boost your class total and earn some more dojo points. We'll be checking the Mind Math soon. And like I said, there'll be lots of dojo points being handed out tomorrow for people who've been working really hard. And tomorrow also, there'll be some extra little bits arithmetic-wise for you to have a go at, a bit like our normal Fridays in school. Okay, bye.